Exciting. Yeah. Round two of YouTube live here. So yeah, man, we got basketball coming up here pretty soon. Some playoff games and kind of starting with both of those play-in tournaments. So I don't know. Do you just want to get cracking on predictions and what we think will happen for the playoffs coming up here?
Yeah, I mean, I know we got the play-ins, right, coming up here. I know in the West we got New Orleans versus OKC and the Lakers versus the Timberwolves there. I guess, I could maybe start off with maybe my predictions and I can toss it over to you and what you think. But I mean, I don't know. I think Pelicans probably will take this over OKC, and I think they just have a little bit more experience, more so than OKC at this point. This is just like, and this is no knock on the Thunder at all. They're just a young team, but they're so talented. But I almost feel like they're just too young at this point. Just need a little bit more seasoning there. So I got the Pelicans there, and then Lakers, they've been playing really hot of late, so I got them taking that over Minnesota. I think the key thing there is McDaniels, that wing defender. He's like 6'10", kind of lanky and all that for the Timberwolves. He's usually like a LeBron stopper. So if they did have him, I think that could be an interesting playing game there. But yeah, Lakers have been playing really well of late, so I feel like they're going to take that one.
Yeah. I agree with both your picks, just on team name alone, kind of the rosters that they have and the situations they're in right now. I mean, love Shea Gilgeous Alexander, Josh Giddey. I feel like once they get Chet Holmgren back, if he's not like, I think I posted the other day, he's like a mix between Kristaps Porzingis and Greg Oden. Like, if this guy can just get on the court and stay healthy over the next 5-10 years, like that's definitely a playoff contender year in year out. And who knows what else they'll add with all the assets they still have left. But yeah, with New Orleans, I mean, I wish they had Zion. It'd just be like so much better to watch them at full, blow. I feel like they'd probably be a top four team if everything went well for them this year as far as injuries go. But I still think like you got Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum is still there as like a leader, presence, and then I think their wing defenders, wing shooter scorers are still, I think, superior to what OKC is gonna toss out there. So yeah, in a one game series, I mean, I feel like that's probably theirs for the taking. And then yeah, LA's been super hot. I think they've won like 9 of 11. Yeah, LeBron healthy, AD healthy on the same court. I mean, I think that's for me like your McDaniel's take. I feel like with what Rudy Gobert did the other day, kind of throwing hands and kind of getting kicked off, the team for the game. I mean, I don't know if that carries over into the playoffs at all, but it sounded like I read a report that Carl Anthony Towns wants him gone. So, this would probably be unfortunately his last year with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I don't think they're getting the same type of package back for him that they gave up. So, they really blew it here, and with D'Lo out and stuff too, it's just kind of like I don't really know what you can count on there. I mean, Conley and Cat are nice, and obviously Anthony Edwards is a star, but it's like there just seems to be a lack of chemistry there, and LA is just like playing out of their minds. So yeah, I'll take the exact same, winners and kind of moving into the 7 and 8 seeds for the Western Conference.
Yep, sounds good. Then I guess moving on to the East, for me, we got the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls here. For me, I'm definitely going to be cheering for the Bulls, like always. But if I were a betting man, which I am, so if I were to be betting, I got to take the Raptors here, though. It lost 2-1 in the regular season. That length that Toronto has, just I feel like it's going to cause a lot of trouble for the Bulls, who, we usually go like four guards basically out there, right? So, and the Vucevic. So for me, it's hard to have that confidence. Like this just is not a good matchup for the Bulls. In order for I think the Bulls to win, we got to have like one of those killer games from Zach LaVine. I feel like where he hits like six threes or something, just goes hot, just gets hot and is unstoppable. Like he's been, kind of the key factor, for the Bulls, like late season surge a little bit there is just his play. So if he can, play a big game, we honestly just got to play our best basketball out there. So yeah, DeRozan, Vucevic, everybody else to kind of have a hand in the game there. So, but yeah, it's for me just not the best matchup there. Um, and then moving on to the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. I got here. Miami Heat have been playing pretty hot too, so I feel like with them, the Hawks they had like a mid-season coaching change there with Quinn Snyder and everything. I just don't feel like I've seen enough, or he hasn't had enough seasoning with that Hawks roster yet. Whereas Miami, like, you're getting Spoelstra, playoff Jimmy Butler, and then they also got Kyle Lowry for the last month. He's been playing off the bench and but has fit into the rotation more as like a playmaker now. So I feel like that's a suitable role for him here. So just this one game series, I feel pretty good about Miami taking this one here. That being said, like out of all the four playing tournament games here, the initial ones, I feel like though, yeah, Atlanta could be the one that is like I guess the lower seed to beat the higher seed here. But I'll stick with my pick of the Heat here.
Yeah. Again, I have the same winners as you for both of those games. So let's start with Toronto, Chicago. I mean, I'm with you as far as the depth goes. I mean, looking at Toronto's roster, it does go pretty deep. I mean, we were talking about this team last year in a similar light. And I think after the Jakob Pertl trade, they were 15-11. So they ended up exactly 500. So you can tell that kind of swung the balance, at least 8 games for them. I think that was a huge boost. They needed somebody down low who had just that ability to be that solid presence underneath. I mean, I still think Precious Achua is really good. Backup could be a starter in the league, and then love Scotty Barnes, Ananobi, Siakam, Van Vliet. You bring in Trent Jr. off the bench. Like this is a pretty loaded team, and it's just unfortunate that they're looking at themselves as a 9 seed this year. And I just think they've got too much talent there. And Bulls, it's like I don't know. I mean, Lonzo being out the entire year was just a true killer. Again, just like kind of these players we really need to count on. They're just not able to stay healthy, give the minutes, and Patrick Williams, I think, didn't really take the kind of steps I think we wanted to see in year two. I mean, 10-4-1 across the board for points, rebounds, assists. He played all 82 games. I saw him and Vooch did that, so it's like hats off to them for being healthy because that was a huge crippler for us. But it just doesn't feel like this team has the right mojo, and I don't think playoff Patty Bev is going to be enough to like push us over the hump in this game. So that's one, and then honestly, like I think Atlanta's more talented, just player by player, than the Miami Heat are. But I just don't like the chemistry, the mix they've got going on there right now. I mean, I heard Rudy Gobert. There's like trade rumors going around Trey Young for this offseason. Like, how
Yeah.
serious those are, I don't know. But I mean, like 2 8 seed, finishes in a row is like really underwhelming, especially when most consider this guy to be like I don't know top 5 point guard in the league. Like should be the face of the franchise. They bring over Dejounte Murray after making a big deal, and it's like nothing really went anywhere. So. I trust playoff Jimmy enough and those veterans to win this game at home, and then we're kind of looking at, I guess, what we didn't cover, I guess, for the East and West is who do we see kind of winning, the 7 and 8 seeds for both sides. Do you have any like changes there, or like, I mean, because it ultimately Atlanta will face Toronto and Minnesota will play New Orleans in our scenarios. So, how do you actually see those like secondary play-in games going?
Yeah, the secondary ones. So if it's like Atlanta, Toronto, so 8 and 9s there. I got. I mean, that's a really good matchup. I feel like just from a basketball standpoint. Um, I guess I gotta go. I might pick Atlanta here. Um, and I'm thinking it's more so about Trae Young winning that matchup over for Van Vliet. I like Fred, but I think Trae Young is just gonna he's just a little he's just got a little bit more upside, and he usually does step up in the playoffs too. So that's definitely where I feel like he can rise up there. And I mean he usually like will his I guess weakness is like maybe a bigger guard, and Fred VanVleet just isn't that big and all that. So that's definitely where I feel like the Hawks can take that one there. Um, and then yeah, for the West, if it's like the same 8-9, right?
Yeah,
The
New Orleans,
Timberwolves,
Minnesota. Yeah,
yeah, New Orleans, and then the Timberwolves there. That's going to be a good matchup. I feel like, with all the chemistry issues that Minnesota has, and even without Zion, I think the Pelicans can take this one. I feel like they match up pretty well too. They have Ingram is one of those players. Once he's rolling on the offensive end, there's really no player that can really stop him. And like I mentioned, yeah, McDaniels isn't there. I think he's a key factor. I think for that team, just because he can guard anybody, guard the best player on the other team. So um, you know, and then who knows what's going to happen uh, with Carl Anthony Towns? If what kind of player will show up in the playoffs there? I know Anthony Edwards, he's last playoffs he was like the best player. But yeah, they don't have Pat Bev, so like where's that intensity going to come from? Who's going to take off their shirt, right, or whatever? So I feel like I really like the Pelicans. I think they made some strides. I know they're the 9 seed, but I feel like they took some steps. Just yeah, they need Zion. He just needs to be healthy, and that's really what's been holding them back from taking that next step further. I feel like there. So, but yeah, I got the Pelicans taking that one.
got it. Yeah, my only change is Toronto over Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta, based on talent alone, probably should win a game like that. Again, I like the experience on Toronto's side. I like how much depth they have. I've heard there's some uh, again, like more contention, I guess, but it's this time it's like with the coaching staff and the GM of the Raptors, Nick Nurse. Um, why is the GM slipping my name? He's such a good GM. Um,
Was it
anyways,
Sam something? I forgot too. Yes, I'm bad at it too. Yeah.
yes, like one of the best GMs in basketball in Toronto. And it's slipping my mind, but yeah, if you gotta shout it out. But no, I just think like this team has too much talent, too much depth, and just kind of where you need it. They've got backups everywhere. I feel like for honestly, they probably play pretty well in a series. But and we say all this, but it's like each year they just come up a little bit short, and it's like I just don't get it. I don't get what mix is not right in Toronto, but I think they'll be good enough to take out Atlanta, I guess, in the last play-in game. So I've got Miami moving into the 7 seed, and then I've got Toronto moving into the 8 seed for the East.
Yeah, it was Masai Uri or Uri. I
Yeah,
forgot. I heard
yeah,
it pronounced. Yeah, yeah,
he's pretty damn good. He can probably get a job anywhere he wants to go at this point. So if there really are problems in Toronto with him or Nurse, I'm sure both those guys will never be hurting for jobs. It's just too bad that team's taking a step back like that, and there's actual problems there on the ground. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, so I guess that rounds out the 1 through 8 seeds on both sides. Do you have a preference on which side you want to start with and how you want to do it?
yeah. I mean, do we want to like go through each game or each playoff matchup? Um, we can definitely do that.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, I think we could start on the West if you want to take that, and I can add mine after you pick yours.
yeah, that sounds good. So in the first one, I've got Denver, New Orleans. I'm going to take Denver. I mean, they've been such a solid team all throughout the year. I love how they stack out their own starters too. I mean, it's a very strong starting five with Jokic, you got Porter, you got Gordon, you got Murray's healthy yet again, KCP, and it's like he's picked up Reggie Jackson on waivers and stuff. Like it's a nice six. And they've just played strong all year. I don't see a lot of like holes in their game. I mean, maybe they could go one or two guys deeper on the bench, but overall, I mean, I think this is the year that Jokic puts his stamp on where he's at in the game. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on him, so I think a first round win against New Orleans would be a good start. And I think of all the matchups that I see 1 through 8, this is probably the most easy pick, or maybe like the most safe team. I think coming out of the first round here. I think they can win this series in 5 or 6 games. Um, but yeah, I just think it's a matter of time rather than like I think New Orleans is pretty scrappy, but in the same sense, I don't think they have enough firepower to kind of take them out. Um, this Memphis Lakers series is super interesting to me. Memphis has become kind of like the joke of the league, whether it's Ja Morant and his strip club addiction, beating people up, playing pretend gangster and stuff. Like it's kind of gotten funny at this point. He's become a punchline. A lot of it to me is just like immaturity. He's probably scared of being the face of his team, backing up what he said about how the Western Conference is easy. I think if there's distractions, you're not around to play those games, then yeah, like that's an easy cop out to not, see your fate or face failure in a way. So I thought all of it was kind of his way to be a distraction for himself and to kind of get himself out of any sort of ridicule later, because with him and Dylan Brooks, like similar guy who's just kind of like becoming a clown and a punchline himself, like just low blowing people and just doing stupid stuff. Like his stat line's been pretty weak this year, just from like a efficiency standpoint. Like everyone's just calling him a nuisance, but they're down Brandon Clark and Adams underneath, and they got to go against AD and LeBron. I mean, if I'm that team, if I'm Lakers, I am just pounding the glass. I'm dumping it down low. I'm just bowling them game in, game out, and hopefully, like Austin Reeves has some clutch threes. I mean, I know they've added a lot more depth, but if they can open it up for like D'Lo and Reeves to just hit threes to kind of cement it off, I've got the Lakers in an upset here in the second like against the second seed. I just think they have been playing hot. They haven't been healthy all year, so that's probably why they're further down the ranks. But when healthy and motivated, which they truly are, I think they take the Memphis Grizzlies out. I don't think many people will kind of consider this a huge upset either. I think, when we start seeing analyst predictions, I'm sure this can be more 50-50 than, any sort of edge to Memphis if I had to guess, but that's my take there. Um Sacramento, Golden State, this one's tough because this is Sacramento's first time being in the dance, Like everybody's been waiting for them to kind of put a team together for years now, and they finally did. Give him all the credit in the world. De'Aaron Fox played out of his mind this year. Sabonis is just a great player. Keegan Murray was played a really nice role as a rookie this year, and it's like they got a lot of things to look forward to. I mean, Kevin Herter's a nice addition too, but it's like you got the Golden State Warriors there, and it's like they're a team where, they're going to be missing some guys throughout the year. Like we're not going to see 82 games played by, Curry Thompson, Draymond Green at this point. So it really is about, Jordan Poole stepping up. Kuminga had a better year. Um, they'll bring back, Looney underneath and such. So it's like I don't know, man. I can't put my money against Golden State going out in the first round against a team that hasn't been there before. I mean, again, shout out to the Sacramento Kings for a great year, but that's just a tough one for me. So I'm going Golden State there in another lower seed upset. And finally, to cap it off in this first round, Phoenix and the LA Clippers. This is going to be a really fun matchup. I mean, so much star power, guys who have been injury riddled on both sides. It's just nice to see that potentially we've got all the stars aligning on the court at the same time. Phoenix was 7-0 with Kevin Durant on the floor this year. I mean, 7-0. Whether they played the best teams in the league, the worst, some in the middle. I mean, that's pretty damn good. That's that's perfect, even if it's only for 7 games. But with Booker, Aiton, Paul, I mean, I like what they have there. They obviously went to the finals here. Recently. It's like, man, this one's tough too because there's a ton of talent on the Clippers outside of Leonard and George too. I mean, like Norman Powell, they've got Bones Highland came over in that trade. Zubac has had a good year. Covington. I know I'm missing some others. You can share any other knowledge you'd like there. I think this one goes the distance between those two teams, and I've just got Phoenix in a slight edge. Although I don't love their depth, I just think from a top end perspective, they've got a lot of talent that I think most teams would just love to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I like your take for all of them, and I might agree for a majority of them. I might be all contrarian or play a little contrarian for you just for the sake of doing it. Though. 'Cause I feel like we agree on a lot of things, which that's an issue sometimes. I feel like, but anyway, I do agree. Denver taking it over the Pelicans. I firmly, believe that for sure as well. Don't nothing to elaborate too much on there. Um, but yeah, no, I do agree with you on the Lakers overtaking the Grizzlies as well. I mean, the whole thing I think with this whole Western Conference is that there's so much parity, and that we're seeing a lot of these lower seeds, with the Lakers in particular as well. And then obviously Golden State is that these were two teams that have won championships recently, right? And they're going against young, kind of inexperienced teams. I know, Grizzlies, they were here, kind of in this position, this previous couple of seasons, but they're still relatively young. They still haven't, kind of made a run in the playoffs or deep run in the playoffs too. So that's certainly where there are question marks on that team. And yes, they are also playing shorthanded there. Whereas the Lakers, they're getting fully healthy and AD is playing his best basketball, right? So definitely there for the Lakers. I am with you on this whole Golden State versus Kings one. It's a tough one because I love the way that the Kings are playing. Like they're playing, if they were like going through like all these like internal issues or getting injured like Memphis and all that, that would be something. But they're just living life. They're loving it. The team chemistry is amazing. The coaching's been great. You got Sabonis and then De'Aaron Fox, who's been like one of the top closers in the game. I think he leads the NBA, I believe, in like fourth quarter points or something like that, or like clutch points. So, they have all the things for great teams. It's just that they're not that as experienced, I think, in the playoffs, and that might be the shortcoming. They're going against the most experienced team in the playoffs by far here. So, um, but yeah, I'm gonna go the contrarian. I'm gonna go the Kings. I'm gonna say like, you know what? Hey, we're gonna dethrone the defending NBA champions at least in this first round here, and take it away. De'Aaron, I think he can match up pretty well with Curry, or they might put some other players on there. Um, and Sabonis, honestly, I think Sabonis is such a great player. He's like Draymond, except he can actually score a little bit more in the paint. So he's a great facilitator, great rebounder, but then he can actually score, by posting up, and he's got a great touch around the basket. Maybe not as as good of a defender as Draymond Green, but that can definitely do that. I will say though that the Kings are terrible at on the defensive side though. I think they're like 20 something. So that can definitely probably be where it's like, oh, they don't know how to defend Curry or Thompson if he gets hot, etc. So, but I'm gonna go the contrarian. I'm gonna say the Kings are gonna get this, show that youthful enthusiasm, and pull kind of an upset, I would say. So, and then yeah, with the Suns and the Clippers, I think I read somewhere that George is going to be out, or he might miss some games here. So I think that might be the deciding factor in this thing. And like you mentioned, Kevin Durant, 7-0. I mean, he just like when I was sitting at a bar chucking some charboy oysters in New Orleans, hearing about this trade, I'm like, they're going to the finals. I know I think we talked about before, like we had some doubts about them just because like it's rarely that you just get start this big just coming in mid season, right? And all of a sudden making this kind of run. But hey, Kevin Durant and everything that's happening with some of these other teams, I feel like why not? So I feel like yeah, Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and etc. I think they can at least pull this one off here. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm for the majority of your picks, obviously. Yeah, Sacramento. We'll see. I mean, that's That's tough. Just like, yeah, the defensive aspects of the game, and you got two of the better shooters. I would say
Yeah.
still game, like that's gonna be. I don't know, man. It's gonna be fun to watch. Like if Golden State doesn't bring their best game, obviously, Sacramento's got enough talent there to get past them at this point. But no, those are all good takes. Always fun to have some like disagreement or even just different boards kind of playing their way out. So I guess with that, what's the best way to kind of move over? I mean, should we continue on with the West or kind of move over to the East in their first round?
Yeah, I think we can go to the East here. I can definitely kick it off.
Go for it.
Yeah, we got the Bucks here, and I think we both had them. Looks like going against was it the Raptors here, I believe, or um, yeah. So I'm looking at the Bucks. I mean, I think the Bucks will be any team that we present there, basically. So yeah, I probably have the Bucks going 5 games. I think they can be the Raptors. I think they match up really well. They have the same length as the Raptors, just better talented overall. I would say there. So moving on to the Cavs versus the Knicks. I've been really excited to actually watch this matchup here. I think they're two fairly young. I know the Knicks have been together a little bit longer, and maybe a couple years older as well. But having Donovan Mitchell, I think that was a great acquisition for the Cavs. And then I think with the Knicks. Obviously, they got Jalen Brunson. I think that was a great ad for them. Um, and but I got to pick, and I like Evan Mobley. I'll definitely like to see that matchup with Randall and versus Mobley. But I'm gonna go with the Knicks here. Actually, I think Brunson, he brings out a different level of play. He's been playing out of his mind the past like month or two now. But during the playoffs, he was a difference maker when he was with the Mavericks, and now when he's with the Knicks, like he's definitely a player that's been taking things over a little bit more. So him and Randall, I think, again, yeah, they have a little bit more of a veteran presence than the Cavs. And then, with the coaching too, I think Coach Tibbs, right? So yeah, I definitely think for me, I feel like this is a good matchup, I think, for the Knicks, pulling out the 5-4 upset here against Cleveland. And then, yeah, moving on to the 76ers in Brooklyn. It's so interesting, this whole Brooklyn thing and how it's all played out, right? With like Mikal Bridges like kind of being this star now. And now he doesn't have to worry about sharing the ball with Devin Booker and Chris Paul and Aiden even. So um, yeah, I have to go, with the 76ers. They just have more of that veteran presence. Embiid, I don't think Brooklyn has necessarily an answer for Embiid there. And you know, they have six players scoring in double digits. I think they've finally kind of developed a little bit more of a rhythm compared to what they've had in previous years. Maybe apart from that Jimmy Butler team that they had where they lost against the Raptors. But I think they have a pretty good rhythm right now, heading into the playoffs with Harden. I think this is the first time ever, the second time ever, I believe, when they had the leading scorer of the NBA and the leading assist person in the NBA on the same team. So it's pretty interesting to see there. Um, and then Boston, I think I had them going against, I believe Miami, I believe, right here. So this is going to be a good matchup. Um, yeah, I think this was the Eastern Conference Final, I believe, like was it a couple of seasons ago. So, uh, but yeah, it's hard to go against Boston and this team, this roster, what they have put together here. I think, they were arguably the best team kind of throughout the entire season. Got banged up here and there, just didn't have as much or lost a little bit of the rhythm. But overall, I got to have pick Boston against the Heat here. So, and then, oh, I think that's it then for me in the East here. So, I'd love to hear your takes then.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go Milwaukee over Toronto. I think that's an easy pick. I mean, I think Toronto, if seeded higher, coach better this year, whatever it was, like because if you go down the line, I think they do match up with Toronto, with Milwaukee pretty well. I mean, they've got Siakam to Giannis, they've got Their centers kind of balance each other out, equal each other out. And then you got Van Vliet with Drew Holiday. Chris Middleton didn't play a ton of games this year. If he's up against OG Anunoby, it's like I don't know. You just kind of go blow for blow. And it's like these teams should be closer, I think, than what they truly are. But Milwaukee is just they run very deep. Giannis is obviously an MVP candidate. Um, just like the fact that Chris Middleton's actually going to be there, throughout the playoffs this year, so we don't have to worry about that. But with Ingles, Connaughton, Grayson Allen, it's like they still have just so much depth to go off of that. I think that's an easy choice. Boston, Miami, like should be a better matchup too. Again, I mean, going into this year, we did kind of question like, is Miami in this area now where they're probably going to be taking a step back? And they did. We kind of called that one, but it's just another rumor I saw was Jimmy Butler's like potentially going to ask out, of Miami if they don't go past the play-in. It's like again, that's not the kind of leadership you want. It's kind of frustrating. Like these players these days, it's like they're so fickle. Like one thing goes wrong, it's like I got to just get out of here. I got to request a trade because this is just not to my standards. It's like Luca might leave. Kyrie might leave yet again. It's like all these guys, I just don't get it. But you know, Boston really doesn't have a lot of holes in their game. I mean, I love their wing pairing. Their defense is really strong. Bringing over Malcolm Brogdon this year added some extra scoring power at the point guard position. Marcus Smart kind of got hidden a little bit behind even Derek White in that like whole mix, but they just have a ton of grit and toughness. And Joe Mazzulla's done like a really great job of just stepping up for their off the court antics going into the year, just coaching wise. So it's like, I don't know, nothing's really changed for them. I really see them being, a legit contender here. Like what you said about Philly, not much else to add. I mean, with Brooklyn, love the direction of the team. They've obviously got a ton of assets to work with in the future. Cam Johnson played really well. Spencer Dinwiddie, had a really good season coming over again for Brooklyn. Cam Johnson got more playing time. Nick Claxton actually, I think he was almost nearing like a double double as their center now with no real competition around him for boards or anything else. So it's like a lot of good things to look forward to, but it's just Philly just seems like the easy pick there. And I guess the only difference we have is that I have Cleveland going over the Knicks. I feel like Julius Randle right now is battling an ankle. He's been out for a couple weeks. He's their 2010 guy. It's like I don't know what he's coming back with as far as like health goes, and I mean that's going to shake up their starting roster and like their scoring ability. I think off the jump. Obi Toppin has actually been dropping like 30-point games in this last week or so, which is like super encouraging. So maybe they found something there, some sort of wrinkle that they could exploit. I mean, I don't know if he just keeps rolling with it. Maybe they don't need all the attention going to Randall or something on the offensive end. But like you're saying with Brunson, just excellent career choice for him to like be in Madison Square Garden. Hopefully RJ Barrett can fill in some holes. I think the thing I like is kind of knowing the Randall injury, but just how Mitchell has performed in the games against the Knicks this year. He's been just like absolutely dominant against that team, and love Darius Garland to kind of match up with Brunson. At least trading blows there, and Jared Allen I think is going to be back. He's been out for a little bit, but he's slated to come back, and you still got Evan Mobley there, so I don't know, man. Gonna be a good series overall. I just think there's like a little bit more, let's call it like star power, I guess, with Cleveland. So I'll pick them to kind of advance to the next round.
Sounds good. Cool. All right. Well, great that we have like different picks here and everything. Um, would it be best then maybe just I guess like maybe I don't know like skip over to like the Western Conference Finals a little bit, just kind of streamline it and so we don't have to talk about our different teams that are going against each other maybe.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. We
Yeah.
can do a conference final set, matchup, and then a winner there. So for me, actually, I'm gonna go the Denver Nuggets against the Golden State Warriors in my Western Conference Finals. I obviously am playing from my heart here with the number 6 seed Warriors going over the Lakers. It's tough, man, because those are two teams that just, I mean, a lot of those core players have seen each other a bunch of times in the playoffs, and like LeBron and Curry are no strangers to one another. I just feel like again, if I have to put my money down, who's the better just coordinated team, coach team, have been together for so long, who still have a ton of talent, depth, like Golden State really underperformed this year, but I just think they've got a little bit more than LA in that area. I feel like LA's been a really fun team to watch over the last 10 games or so, but I see Golden State going over and getting their way into the Western Conference Finals in an amazing matchup, Denver Phoenix. I think the thing that stood out for me for Denver is I think everybody's overlooking them this year. I think they kind of know that. They know they're getting kind of slighted in a way. I think Jokic is getting a lot of attention on him right now for potentially being in the running for a three-peat for the MVP, and also just like he's dealing with a lot of hate because they're like this guy's never done anything. He's not going anywhere. So like I think as talented as he is, as much pride as he probably has in himself and in his game, like he's going to show out, but he's also got one of the better rosters around him in the NBA. And
Mhm.
Phoenix, as much as I love what they've got as far as like star potential goes and like what that team could ultimately be, and the next year, the year after, if everything goes well, they stay healthy and stuff. I just feel like Denver is so well rounded. They've been there, done that this year. I think they're the team of the West this year, in my opinion. So um, yeah, just straight up, I think they're going to be able to take out Phoenix, who also kind of reminds me a little bit of what we thought we saw in the Brooklyn Nets of last year, where it was like, well, they got Durant, they got Irving, they got Simmons, they got all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, they got all this talent, but they haven't played enough together, and they haven't really found that chemistry that they really need. Despite the asterisk I put on that 7-0 record with Durant. But anyway, so I got Denver, Golden State, and like I said, the team of the West for me this year is Denver. I think they're the team that is able to kind of strike the death blow to the Golden State Warriors this year. Not that this was Golden State Warriors year, but I just feel like when your money is down, that's the team that normally I'd feel comfortable putting it on. But I just like what Denver's done top to bottom this year, and I think they'll represent the West.
Cool. Yeah. I guess with my Western pick, I had I have Phoenix taking out the Denver Nuggets there. Um, and it's part of me is like I'd rather just see the Nuggets win this, like beat them on this. But I just have a good feeling. I feel like with like Devin Booker, and it's just hard to like take away all their scores there. And I don't think that Denver has the defense or the defensive capabilities to stop. I mean, nobody really does have any defensive capabilities to stop Kevin Durant, but then also Devin Booker, you know, Chris Paul, sure, even though he's aging, and then yeah, I guess Eden, if you want to throw him in there. So I think that's just where I'm thinking there. I know they have, Michael Porter Jr. He's got good size and is become an improved defender, but still like, not don't think that there's anybody can stop him. And then Booker, I think, is another person as well that I don't. Again, there's nobody I think on Denver's roster. Caldwell Pope, solid defender, but definitely not. At least for me, I don't think he's an elite defender that can like stop him or slow him down there. So that's where I have the Phoenix Suns. Uh, being there, and then I think they'll be competing against. I can't believe I'm saying this. The Lakers. I think the Lakers, playing hot. I think they have like one of the best records since the All Star break, and since when they made those trades. I just like the way that they're playing right now. Kind of playing together. They know each other's roles. Um, AD is playing out of his mind, playing really, really well right now. So I feel like they're going to be making a push here. I talked about the matchup against, or we both have talked about the matchup against the Grizzlies, kind of having them favored there. And then, for me, I have them going against them, the Sacramento Kings, and then beating the Sacramento Kings there. So, having a little bit more of that veteran presence there. So that's where I have the Lakers competing against the Phoenix Suns for the Western Conference championship there.
Sounds good. And did you pick your winner for the Western Conference Finals?
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that now. That's gonna be a great matchup though. We got KD and LeBron there, right? So Ah, I did doubt Kevin Durant just coming kind of coming in there and just trying to pull something off, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns here. Actually, I think they'll make the Western Conference or win the Western Conference finals here.
Yeah, I think the Aiton AD matchup is going to be better than advertised. I feel like AD's not going to have that ability to just push around whatever centers underneath the rim with a guy like Aiton, and so it's like that in a
Hmm.
way kind of not neutralizes AD, but I think limits maybe some of the upside in that pairing of him and LeBron. And yeah, when it's Booker and Durant versus LeBron and change, it's like I do like that team better than I do like the Lakers. So I think that's the way to go in that matchup.
Yeah, yeah. Who do you got coming out of the East there then?
At least in the East for me, no surprises. No surprises. I'm taking the top two teams. We talked about this all year. There's nothing not to like about either of these squads. I mean, Milwaukee, Cleveland. I don't see that being. I don't see that as being as interesting. I mean, I hate to downplay it like that because that's just disrespectful to the Cavs. But again, it's like Milwaukee's just they're more than a big three to me. They have like just a ton of depth and guys who have some serious playoff experience in the West and the East. As far as conferences go, so they just bring over like a ton of new knowledge and just like a lot of minutes that have been just battle tested to surround who probably the best player in the game with Giannis, and then at least in the other side, I think that Boston Philly matchup is going to be, you know, way more intense. I like the defense looking at Boston versus Philly. I just feel like Philly's seems like they're I don't know their better traits in their game come from the offensive side of the ball. Just with
Hmm.
Embiid kind of dominating underneath. You got Harden, who's never really been much of a defender. Tyrese Maxey's not much of a defender. Tobias Harris, not much of a defender. So it's just like at that point, it's like Boston's kind of right there in my mind with Philly as far as their offensive prowess goes, but they bring that whole defensive element to the game where it's like I just can't ignore that. So yeah, that's who I've got in my conference final, and again, I think this one's going to go down to the wire. I mean, I could see easily 6-7 games here, but I'm going to go with Milwaukee. I just like them a little bit more. I just like the characters they got. I think they got Joe Ingles off the bench too. Like we've talked about these teams at length. I feel like already in this live session, it's just like you kind of just have to go with your gut. Boston, man, could easily get in there as well. I think adding Brogdon made them just a touch better than even last year. But bringing Middleton back healthy this year, who wasn't there last year, I feel like that's going to be a huge difference maker for Milwaukee. And again, they brought over Crowder. That was a change, from last year's team. And yeah, I mean, this one's kind of a coin flip to me. It's going to be a much better Western Conference or Eastern Conference semi and Eastern Conference final than whatever's going on in the West. Like the West has more parity. It's more of a wild card, but like just the stake is all in the East to me at the top four the spots there for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree with yeah, everything you said there. And yeah, I definitely have uh the same things there with Milwaukee beating the Knicks. I had to pick the Knicks there, uh and yeah, I mean that's the thing about the 76ers. They just do not match up at all well against the Celtics. Celtics like to spread it out more, right? Spread the floor, and then when you got Embiid there, it's like great, you're protecting the paint, but then you have really no perimeter defenders really. So and for Boston, when they're hitting threes and they shoot and make some threes there, then that's going to be a hard team to beat. And I think the Celtics swept the 76ers in this for the season here. So um, I definitely like Boston in that matchup against the 76ers. And then, yeah, the Knicks. Sorry, man. Good season and everything. But I think, the one player that doesn't get talked enough about for the Bucks is Drew Holiday and how he can guard, the best player, the best like point guards and shooting guards that the other team has, as well as he's strong enough to not back down against the three as well. So for me, like he's definitely a big difference maker for that team there. And like you mentioned, Chris Middleton, I know he's been banged up, and especially heading to the playoffs, but I think he'll get healthy enough. And I also just think that with last season, or kind of how last postseason ended for the Bucks there, it was just really deflating too to see Chris Middleton go down, right? So I think that's like one thing coming into this playoffs. He hasn't played. I think only played like maybe about 24 minutes per game, just because he's been kind of injured here and there. He only averaged about 12 points, but his veteran presence, I think, is something that the Bucks just kind of missed. Kind of having one of your second best scorer taken away just like that, and he was also always seen kind of as the clutch scorer. When there was like a couple of seconds on the clock in the fourth quarter, they would usually go to him because he can shoot the three as well as shoot off the dribble. Whereas Giannis, it's a little bit harder to get him the ball there for those clutch moments. So, but yeah, and I love the way how the Bucks have been playing. I think they have the best record since the All Star break, and even without some of their players, I think they've interchanged between, maybe they'll have Chris Middleton play here with Drew Holiday, but then they'll sit Giannis. They're just a well-oiled machine, I feel like, and defensively, I think is the key thing for them. So I say all that to basically say I'm picking the Bucks here as well. I think they, like I mentioned, with Middleton, I think that was just such a deflating moment for them, and I feel like with him, you know, uh, we'll see if he is fully healthy. If he's not even, I think they've kind of addressed some of that, um, and then I also really like Portis coming out there, and also Lopez is playing out of his mind. So I just feel like really good about where the Bucks were, and yeah, I know that they got Brogdon, the Celtics got Brogdon, but yeah, I still like the Bucks and the team that they have right now. So yeah.
For sure. Well, it sounds like we both have the Bucks, and then we each have the Nuggets and the Suns, respectively, here in our finals. You want to kick it off? Just how you see this one going? Who you're going to crown champ?
Oh, this is gonna be a great one. Kind of bringing some star power here and everything. So yeah, I got the Suns and then the Bucks here. Ah, I'm gonna go for the Bucks. Yeah, I'm gonna go for the Bucks here. Um, I don't know who they're gonna put on Durant. Uh, I don't know if Middleton can even handle Durant or anything like that. I don't. Probably not gonna put Giannis, but I feel like they'll contain them as much as possible. And their defense, like the one thing about the Bucks, they have really good team defense. So, and great coach as well. So I feel like they'll make the adjustments there. And then they do have players to guard Devin Booker and Chris Paul as well. So they just play really great team defense, and I think that's why I always like the Bucks, and they're always contending in games there. So I'm gonna go for the Bucks. I don't know, 6 or 7, something like that.
Got it. Yeah, I would think Giannis will be sticking KD. Just thinking of like size, length, athleticism. Like, wouldn't you want to put Giannis on KD? Like, that's probably your best bet. Because I mean, Giannis, I don't know if there's like a better athlete for his size, like in the NBA, but yeah, I just couldn't imagine like Brooke Lopez or Portis putting like good minutes out there on him, right? Like that. But like you're saying, even if they've got the safety, the help there, like you put put the freak on him. I'm sure that would disrupt KD's game. Probably the most it probably could in any matchup across the NBA. Like I'd love to know who the best Durant stoppers are, but that seems like the perfect fit as far as defense is concerned. Yeah, I mean, if that's the finals and that's kind of the two teams playing it out. I mean, just Milwaukee again, like just has so much more depth. I think on top of the Suns, where it's like when KD or Booker has to sit down, like I think Bucks are just going to eat. Like they're just gonna get their points. I could honestly see that one only going 6 or maybe in a best case scenario, maybe it's a five, 5 game set or something like that. Just with I think the depth advantage to me, at least in,
Mhm.
in favor of the Bucks. But I'm in a similar light as you, just as far as what I think outcomes are. I mean, I've got the Bucks winning it all too against the Nuggets in the same fashion. While I think Denver might be like a slightly deeper team than Phoenix, whether or not they've got the same, top talent upside as the Phoenix Suns team does, it's like, you go further into that bench or, anybody gets hurt or whatever it could be. Again, I just like how Milwaukee is just padded at every single spot and, still trotting out three all stars when they're healthy. It's like they've been there, they've done it, they've taken some, you know, I mean, even in last year's loss, going into matchups with the Boston Celtics, it's like for me, the Bucks have won a title, come equally as close the year, last year at least, and then kind of like running back the same, if not better, team than they have in years past, and it's like, yeah, I don't see anybody beating them. So I think we're both in agreement there with the Bucks winning it all.
Yeah, how about that? Okay, so we, at least we got that. And I know we disagreed on the opponent there, but I guess that we'll both be cheering for the Bucks here, at least to be proven right.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Jokic again because I think like this will make everybody look at him a lot more seriously. I think going into
Mhm.
years, from now, but it's like I like everything that Denver has. I mean, if they just had like a couple extra rotation pieces that I could truly trust, like I think Bruce Brown is there as like their number seven. Beyond
Right.
that, I don't know who else I'm getting more excited about, aside from Reggie Jackson too off the bench. But it's like they just had a couple more guys, couple more vets that they could, go to, and you have another year of Murray Jokic running it back, and maybe Porter, takes a little bit of a step or just stays healthy. Like that's a really, really nice squad. Like I don't see a lot of holes like in that roster or what that team could do as far as winning a
Mhm.
championship goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. When the Nuggets are playing, when they're healthy, as reasonably healthy as they are, and this season, fortunate enough, like they were like we see what was happening. They're the number one seed here, so and rightfully so. I mean, I think they're still relatively young, uh, so for me, it's like great. This is a nice for them to get some seasoning. We look at what happened with the Bucks, right? Like they, at least with Giannis and Middleton, they had to have some trial and error there. So and then yeah, they eventually got Drew Holiday. So I think that this is just a nice stepping stone. I think for them to build off for the next couple of seasons because Jokic, man, he's such a good player and he's. Uh, I mean, yeah, he's not a defensive freak in nature or anything like that, but he's such a fun player to watch, and there's a reason why he is a two-time MVP as well. So, but yeah, I think Giannis, the Bucks, they've just been probably the best team. I mean, they had the best record, but yeah, they've been playing the best. I feel like so. For me, I feel pretty good about that pick.
No doubt. Well, as we were speaking, we got a comment. Probably would butcher the guy's name, but Jabber Mondo, basically giving a shout out to the Warriors. We definitely covered them earlier on in our takes here. I think Wayne can speak for his placement of the Warriors. I had them going to the Western Conference Finals. I just have a little bit of confidence in Denver, taking out the Warriors, but in the same sense, like I'm not sleeping on the Warriors this year. Like I feel like they do have a lot of obviously experience there. They just get everybody back healthy. Like that's always a fun team to watch. And we did definitely break down like how much parity's in the West. So should be a very interesting side of the bracket there on the Western Conference.
Yeah, yeah. For the record, I love the Warriors. I watch Steph Curry videos in my sleep and everything like that. But I just don't feel good about them this season. And uh, with the Kings, like I actually grew up like a Kings fan with the whole like when there was Jay Will and then Mike Bibby, Chris Webber, Siakovic. Love that team. It was definitely a conspiracy with the Lakers, taking that. Like everybody knew that. So, but yeah, I picked the Kings to win that series against the Golden State Warriors. So, um, yeah, it was definitely against. I went against the grain there. I feel like everybody's picking the Warriors, but Um, yeah, the Kings playing really well. Fox, clutch player, and then Sabonis. I just feel like Sabonis is such a skilled player, and I don't know if the I mean I know they're gonna stick like Draymond Green on him, right? But I feel like he can take that matchup. So yeah.
No doubt. Well, we don't have to rehash any longer. That's our playoff bracket there. Ready and live to go. I believe games start tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. Tomorrow, Tuesday.
So we got some NBA action tomorrow. Definitely tuning in. And I don't know, like, is there any sort of wagers we want to put on the board? I mean, I know we still got some other ones to rehash here in other leagues, but I don't know. Anything you're thinking or
Yeah.
any you want to track, I guess, throughout this playoff run here?
Well, since I guess that was the Kings and Warriors were a subject of disagreement here, maybe put a little bit of wager on there. Even though that's probably that's the one I feel the least most confident or least confident about in terms of like I guess the upsets or the differences between our picks here. But hey,
Yeah.
why not? Yeah, let's go for it though. Yeah, how about like whoever I'll propose an idea. Let me know what you think. How about I think we talked about wine or not wine. What's what's on my mind? Coffee or cold brews or something like that. How about if the Kings win, whom I picked, you have to get me some sort of favorite cold brew of yours or something like that. And then vice versa.
That sounds good to me. As you're more the connoisseur of the cold brew, I'll allow you to send me your favorite cold brew when Curry drops 4 straight games of 50 points. Yeah. But no, that sounds good. We'll trade texts and line up the winner with the cold brew of their choice. I think that's a fair bet. Yeah, overall, like this Western Conference is gonna be a lot of fun to watch. Like I just really hope we get some star-studded matchups. Like we already get one in the first round. I think with Phoenix and LA. If it can go, LA Golden State, like or possibly, yeah, LA Golden State, I think would be a lot of fun. I mean, I think even Phoenix and Denver is a lot of fun to watch. Phoenix,
Hmm.
or I'd say like the Clippers, Denver would be a ton of fun to watch too. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, this can be a lot of fun. So I don't know if you got no more further thoughts. I'm pretty much good to go here on this like playoff run stuff. But what are you
Yeah.
thinking?
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I think I mean I like Kawhi and I like the Clippers and everything like that, but they've always been like a disappointment, I feel like, whenever it comes to like the playoffs. And then yeah, Paul George isn't healthy. If Paul George was healthy, right? I think the record's like 27, 28, and like 14 or something like that. So if he is healthy, then that'll be a great matchup. But if he is healthy or pops in there for a couple games against the Suns, and then yeah, if they are able to make a playoff run, that is a hard team to beat. So that definitely is a team to watch. But I don't know, we'll see. Very much though, looking forward to playoff basketball. And then yeah, I guess the Bucks taking it. So
All right. Well, we'll be back sometime soon, most likely next week, to go back to our traditional setup. If you joined us at all tonight or even after this was filmed, we appreciate it. You can find us on Instagram at Ball and Breakfast, YouTube here as well. Leave us a like, a comment on anything you've heard. For the playoff preview, we've got other football, baseball coverage, found on our page. So check it out, subscribe. We always appreciate it, and we'll see you guys all again soon.
take care, all.